Greetings and welcome. My name is Eric Vaughn, Director of Career Services and your career coach for myHub. myHub is the professional development hub for graduate students, postdocs, and alumni in the School of Medicine and Dentistry. I'm excited to have you join us today to learn more about CV writing and how showcasing your strengths, experiences, and skills can assist in showcasing your story for opportunities you want to pursue. I'd also like to acknowledge one of our alums, Jennifer Strippe, for allowing us to use her CV as an example through this presentation today. We will also be offering some sample CVs on our website for you to utilize. Thank you again for checking out this short video on CV writing. We hope this online video resource can assist you in better understanding the uses of a CV, the differences between a CV and a resume, assist you in developing a method to help write your CV, including CV preparation, format, what content to include, and methods to evaluate your CV. Also, what content to share and how to align that with its use. And finally, encourage you to develop a master CV to assist you in developing targeted CVs and resumes based on your need. So let's first define a CV. So CV stands for curriculum vitae, and it's a Latin expression that simply translates to the course of my life. Every individual CV will have some similarities, but the content will be unique to each individual experience or life journey they have gone and experienced. So your CV will look totally different from your neighbors and other individuals, maybe within your work group or within your lab. So what are the differences between a CV and a resume? Well, let's dive in and take a look. First, the goal and the audience might be a little bit different between both of them. A CV is used to obtain an academic position, a potential travel award or grant. It's primarily going to be used in academia, but it could be asked for within industry, government, or not-for-profit, but primarily it will be used in academia. A resume, though, is used most likely for non-academic opportunities, and especially networking connections. A CV is the complete history of your academic pursuits, including academic research, teaching, awards, and service. Where a resume is very tailored, it highlights relevant experiences and skills for a specific job, maybe within industry, government, not-for-profit. So it's very targeted. The length is also different between these. A CV is very flexible. A CV can be a number of pages. It could be, up to potentially 25 or more. Where a resume is very narrow. It's 1 to 2 pages max. It's only sharing the most important information. And one other piece is it utilizes the summary of qualifications and skills that can highlight your strengths and experiences that you could bring to the opportunity right away at the top of the resume. So next, the stages of CV development. We're going to put them into 4 categories: preparation, format, content, and evaluation. We're going to talk about each of these stages today during our conversation, and this will really help you to develop a very strong master CV and then help you to narrow that down for your targeted CVs. So your first stage is CV preparation. You're going to want to review other individual CVs to get some ideas of how to develop yours. How far back should I go? Undergraduate experience, this is the best place to start. And like I said, we are going to create what we call a master CV. So you want to include everything from your undergraduate forward. Even the smallest opportunity may be important to share in an opportunity down the road. So that's why I tell individuals, don't discount any experience, because it may be something that could make you the top candidate for an opportunity. Another piece of advice, make sure you always back up your CV at all times. It's going to really be beneficial because this is something that you're going to continue to add to, and it could become a very lengthy document, and trying to remember all that content that you've added. If you lose that, so definitely make sure you back that up, put it on the cloud, send it to yourself in an email, make sure you save it. Stage 2 is format. What relevant CV sections are you going to need within your CV? Make sure that it's organized, easy to locate, that information that you're trying to convey to those reading your document. Also, make sure it has an easy font size and style, and that it's consistent throughout. So only bold, important content, for example, positions or award names. And make sure you always order the material based on what you believe is the most important that they're trying to convey within the job posting or the opportunity. So at the top, usually, of your CV will be your academic experience. It could be your research next. It could be based on maybe you're applying for a teaching opportunity and there's some research. Maybe the teaching experience would come first and then research. Or if the primary position is research, the research information will come first, then teaching. So each CV that you submit or send out may look a little different, but that's why you create a master CV with everything on it so that you can create those targeted CVs and specific CVs for positions you're applying. Stage 3, content. What is the reader interested in? You want to make that relevant to the opportunities you want to utilize the CV for. So the job posting can really be beneficial, and the organization's website, in providing the detail that they're going to want to see on your CV, and to make that CV targeted for the opportunity or the organization that you're looking to be part of. So here we're now going to go through each section of a CV, and we'll talk a little bit about what's important to highlight and make sure that you are getting across to the individuals looking at your document. So the first is your contact information. This is going to be on the first page, at the top of the first page. You're going to want to include your first and last name, your legal name. If you go by a middle name, for example, such as W. James Smith, put that W in front with a period and then James Smith so that they know that you go by James. Make sure you use an email address that people will be able to connect with you even after you leave the University of Rochester. Make sure you include your area code with your phone number. And also, instead of your address, maybe include your LinkedIn profile or your PubMed or Google Scholar URL. This is a great way for people looking at your document to get additional information. So next is your education and degree. And that information should go in reverse chronological with the most recent first. So University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry will be right at the top of your education section. We can include what PhD degree program we're getting. We should note, if we have not received our PhD yet, that we're still a PhD candidate. And you can also put anticipated completion date. And for this example, we put August of 2024. It's important that you use the word anticipated because you don't have your degree yet, and you're anticipating that you will get it by that date. But that could change based on potential changes within your research plan. So that way it gives them a nice estimate. You can also include your undergraduate degree. You don't need to include GPA, and you also want to be consistent. So how you have this organized, you want to be consistent throughout. So if you're putting the name of the institution at the top, that should be the same for the next institution. That way people can locate the correct information that you're trying to provide them within your document.
The next section we're going to talk about on your CV is your experience section. This can include research experience, teaching, internships, and other relevant experiences that you may want to share with the audience you're sharing your CV with. You can put them in one category in reverse chronological order or into individual sections. For example, all your research could be under the research experience category. Teaching could be under teaching experience. One thing to remember is within each of those sections to include your material in reverse chronological order. When developing your CV, you can include all your experiences, but you may from time to time need only share the relevant ones based on what they're looking for in the internship or job posting. The internship and job posting can really help you to determine what is needed within that CV. I'm going to share with you right now a few examples of how you can format your CV in the experience section. Your experiences form the basis of your unique academic identity. This will be the icing on the cake for the search committee that is looking at your CV for an opportunity. Experiences must be formatted to draw the attention to your particular strengths that make you the top candidate for the position you're seeking. Frame your experiences from broad to specific. I'm going to share an example for faculty search committees that are looking to see if you have a clear sense of, they want to see a clear sense of your strengths and that you're not all over the place in your CV. Focus on your strengths. This is what you're being hired for. Remain true to who you are and highlight those strengths. And as you can see from this example, you could have as simple as just outlining what your titles are or your appointments. For the second example here, you're sharing a very simple format and what you actually did within that experience. So they will find additional information based on the publications that you've shared and your involvement within your program. Finally, you could go into a little bit more depth with your CV. Sometimes you may want to provide some extra details. Limit your share for each experience to 3 to 5 bulleted items. Use bulleted statements over paragraphs. They are easier to read, and important details will not be lost when scanning the document. Employers spend on average about 30 to 60 seconds reviewing CVs and resumes during the first review. Remember to provide examples and support when describing your experiences. Your CV and/or resume and cover letter are your voice when employers are deciding who to invite for screening interviews or first round of in-person interviews.
Another important section could be on your CV is your publications and if you have any patents. And you want to use APA style or a consistent style to convey your, publications and patents and presentations and even posters within your CV. And for this example, Jennifer is highlighting where she is located as author within the different publications so that individuals can quickly know where she is located and what the name of that paper or publication is, and also what patents that she's part of and where she is as part of those patents. Let's talk a little bit about conference presentations and workshops. Many of you have presented at multiple conferences and maybe even here at the University of Rochester presented a number of times. You should include a full list of all the times that you presented and any workshops that you've done and presented on. It's important to highlight those. And if you notice, I've used the word select on this PowerPoint slide. This is only showing a small glimpse into the presentations and workshops that Jennifer has done. And this is a way that you can convey a very short list on your CV, especially if you're limited on the number of pages for your CV. For some individuals, I've seen the presentation and workshop page content go for like 2 or 3 or even 4 pages. So this helps to narrow it down. Plus, individuals can ask for a full detailed list if they want. But what Jennifer has done here is she's provided a very select list of presentations and workshops, including the name of the conference, where that conference was located, what type of media did she utilize. So in this sense, she did a poster at the SNO Pediatric Neuro-Oncology Basic and Translational Research Conference in San Francisco. She included the title of that poster, and she also did an invited talk, and she shared that information. So based on what you want to share, it's important to share what type of media it was or presentation style, where that conference or presentation was done, the city and state, and the year that you did it. So the next is grants and fellowships, CV content, grants and fellowships. This is an important piece, especially if these you want to only include grants that you've actually been awarded. And this is a great way, especially if you're going to be going into the academic world, to be able to showcase those grants and fellowships to other, fellow individuals within academia, or especially if you're bringing money in for a potential position, what you're bringing in. So this is a great outline for grants and fellowships of all of the different grants and fellowships that Jennifer was awarded. And she's listed them there. She's listed the fellowship, who it was through, some important, information that maybe somebody can do an additional search on, what her role is, and when that actual fellowship or grant was awarded and the time frame. In addition, you can add honors and distinctions. This is a great way to showcase some of your national honors and distinctions, even regional and local honors and distinctions that you've been awarded. And if you just want to give a very small glimpse into that, remember you can add the word select in front of honors and distinctions. The one thing I do want to note is if you look at the National Institutes of Health Awards, we I encouraged, or we put a bulleted statement about how this was awarded to 2 out of 2,500 nominations. And why is that important? Because that's pretty prestigious that this individual was selected over 2,500 other nominations. So we definitely want to note that, so that could be a conversation piece during the actual maybe interview, or if somebody wants to ask additional questions about the CV, that could be a conversation starter. You can also include university and professional memberships on your CV. Those memberships can include present and past lists of professional memberships and institutional involvement. I also encourage you to highlight your leadership roles and accomplishments, because this is a great way to showcase your leadership and what you have done as a leader within the different organizations, and could be something that could set yourself apart from other potential candidates. Finally, action verbs. This helps to describe your experience, skills, and traits. Avoid using the same action verbs within your CV. Action verbs can really, make a clear statement about who you are and what experiences that you bring and skills you bring for an opportunity. I encourage you to look at a job posting or the description of the job when creating your targeted CV for the opportunity. The reason being is if you can use some of the action verbs or wording from the resume, or from the job posting on your CV, it's going to enhance your candidacy for that opportunity. Plus, you're making it relevant based on what they're looking for. Remember, make sure you have a clear understanding of what those action verbs mean and that you're conveying it in the correct manner on your CV. There are tons of CVs and resources out there, and I've included a link to one of those 185 powerful verbs that you can use in your resume or CV right on the presentation today. So check that out. It gives you a great list of action verbs to utilize. The final stage is evaluation. You've now put together your CV, And what I would encourage you is compare that CV to the internship and employment posting. Have you covered everything and highlighted your strengths? Have a mentor or a colleague review that CV, provide them a copy of that posting. Check and recheck that document for spelling and grammar errors. It's important because that's a way that they could weed you out for a potential opportunity. So make sure your document is top notch. And always title your document with your name and add the word CV so they reference what that document is and what it's for. Before we finish, I just want to mention I get a lot of questions about references. And you can actually include a reference section at the end of your CV. Now, normally on a resume, you would actually have a separate page for your references. But on your CV, you can actually include it right at the end. And here's an easy format to utilize for your references. You want to include that person's name, their relationship to you. Are they your mentor, your current supervisor, past supervisor, former colleague? What is their job title? Where do they work? And what's their best means of communication? Usually phone and email. Make sure that you ask those references for this information so that you can put it on correctly, because sometimes they may want you to use their cell phone number or they may want you to use their office phone number. So what's the best means to communicate for those individuals wanting to communicate with your references, that best method? And finishing up, I want to talk about things to remember. Focus the content within your CV to the experience or purpose of what you want to use that CV for. So remember that job posting or opportunity that you're looking to apply to or that you might want to be seeking, focus that CV on that. Sometimes you can eliminate things off of your CV that might not be relevant for that position or opportunity. That's okay. You can always include it on your LinkedIn, or you could, talk about it during your interview. Format your CV to assist in locating key information easier and quicker. You want to make sure that the material on your CV is very easy to locate and find. You don't want them to have to think about this as a puzzle. Where did they put this information? Make it consistent so that they can locate what they need right away very quickly. Always describe the impact of your contributions. Don't just state that you can do something, provide the impact of that item or experience. So just don't tell me that you're an excellent writer. Describe that you're an excellent writer. Maybe you won an award at a national conference for a publication that you were the first author on. You have contributed a lot to science, to research, to all the experiences that you've had. And it's important to really highlight and be descriptive as possible on your CV. Remember, this is a glimpse into your academic research, experiences, skills. You will have that interview to showcase more specifics and more information. So this doesn't have to be the full novel, but this should give them enough information to want to call you for a potential interview. Also, start statements or sentences with action verbs. Avoid writing in the first person. This is already your document. So starting with an action verb is going to make it more powerful and will set that stage for what you're trying to convey to the employer or individual reading your CV. Thank you again for watching this short introduction to CV writing. Please remember that I am here to assist you in reviewing and answering your questions about your CV and any other topic that you might need help with. Feel free to schedule an appointment through Handshake by visiting myhub.urmc.edu. The myHub website and Handshake provide additional resources and information that you will find useful, and we encourage you to explore and schedule an appointment for an overview of myHub. Thank you again, and look forward to seeing you next time.